Hey guys, welcome back to our simple adventures. If you saw the coolant system pressure test video, we found what looks like was a water pump leaking. So I will link that video in the description just so you can see how to do a coolant system pressure test. But anyway, so today we're doing the water pump. Then I'm draining the coolant system, and let me show you how I'm doing that. I'm just using my oil drain pan mainly, but I've got this empty windshield washer bottle, and right here, this is the petcock, the bottom of the radiator, and all I did was, this was just finger tight. So I just loosen that up, and it's coming out of the petcock here. So that's how you drain the coolant system the slow way. If you want to do it the fast way, pull off the lower radiator hose. Oh, and also it helps to pull the cap off the coolant tank so it'll flow freer, relieve the pressure. So, okay, I'm going to try and keep this video as short as possible because I know you guys like short videos. So I'm just going to show you here what we're going to be doing, and then I'm going to be quiet and probably do a lot of time lapse and a little bit of music. So here's a water pump. It came with the gasket. And as long as okay, your drive belt's got to come off. This Mustang has 117,000 miles on it. Belt's never been, all this stuff has never been changed before, so I have to take it off anyway. So I'm putting all new stuff on. The serpentine belt. This is the bypass hose from the Thermostat Housing. You know, when the motor's cold, it just bypasses, and then you know, when it warms up, your thermostat opens and it runs through your radiator. This is your upper radiator hose, right here. This is your lower radiator hose, and this one goes up to the coolant tank, which I'll kind of show you as I'm doing it in probably in time lapse. And then some RTV that they recommend putting on the water pump gasket to help seal it. So just a little bit of water pump Thermostat Housing RTV. So okay, we'll keep moving here. Okay, now that I've got everything out of the way here, I am going to take a picture of the serpentine belt and its route around all those pulleys. I'm sure I can find a schematic of it in either the owner's manual, which I'm sure, or in the Haynes manual that I like to use all the time. But I'm going to take a picture with my cell phone. Okay, you're going to have to come underneath to do get the lower radiator hose. Sometimes on these radiator hoses, especially on the ones that are closest to the hot motor, well, it doesn't matter which ones it might be, they're all get hot, but to get it off easier, might need to cut it with the box cutter. Okay, I just put a little slice in it, and that should come off. There we go. Yeah. That's one reason why I always buy new hoses too. These old ones can be a bear to get off, and sometimes you need to slice them. Okay, we got everything out of the way just about. Okay, this pulley needs to come off. It is attached to the water pump. Leave the belt on to break these loose, because if you take the belt off, it'll be a bear cat to break these bolts loose. The belt will hold this tight as you do that. So you need to break these bolts loose. These are 10 millimeter. This is the belt tensioner here. I'm going to stick a 3/8 drive ratchet in there, and I'm going to turn that, and that'll loosen the belt. Be able to pull the belt out. Then we've got that'll give us better access to. Then I've got the bypass, little short bypass hose that I showed you earlier. There's 2 clamps on that. That's going to come off. And this is the heater hose that goes to your heater core. So this needs to come off. Hopefully that'll stay in good shape, and because I did not buy another one of those. Let's take a look at that belt. See all the little cracks in there? Yeah, it's good to replace it. You're supposed to do these every 30,000 miles, I think. Verify that, but I think every 30,000 miles. Yeah, getting little cracks. Okay. Okay, we are to the water pump. There are 12 bolts around there, and they are 8 millimeter. I'm going to start right here at 12 o'clock, and I'm going to use this as 12 o'clock. And I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, all the way around, because they're probably going to be different lengths, and so you want to keep track and keep them in order on your bench or whatever. But so I'm going to keep track. 1, 2, 3, all the way around, so there's 12. I'll put them right back in the same position. Okay, water pump's off. You can see I got a pan down there, still spilled on the sides, but water pump is off. I'm just looking to see what's left of the gasket. And where it might have been leaking. It was on this side, so anyway, pray that this fixes it. There's just going to be a little slight change here. Okay, look at this. Is the thermostat housing, and it's plastic. I have no idea why they made it plastic, but I guess these are known to leak. And if you see in there, see that white calcium trail down to, looks like a little wet spot in the corner there? I am betting that that is probably either the whole leak or at least part of the leak, so that's leaking also. I did not actually see the water leaving the seam of the water pump because, you know, there's so much stuff there is hidden, but it looked like it was coming from the water pump. But this is showing signs of leakage, so I am going to replace this thermostat housing while I've got this all tore apart. So I'm gonna have the wife stop by Pep Boys and pick up a new housing. In the meantime, I'm gonna go back together with the lower end of this, the water pump and the lower hose and that stuff. And then I will do another video on replacing the thermostat housing. The throttle body has to come off in that. So, okay, you want to make sure to clean everywhere where the gasket is going to seat here on the water pump. Thankfully, most of the old gasket was on the water pump itself, so I took a putty knife and just scraped a little bit where there was. You can feel, I mean, just go around with your finger and feel, and I used some carb cleaner and a rag to wipe off any residue. It's pretty clean now. So now we are going to prepare the new water pump. And you can see I put my water pump bolts in order, in clockwise order here. There's that top one, and I didn't really need to, I guess. They're all the same size, so that didn't matter. But anyway, I did my Jeep, and there were different sizes, so that's why I did that. And just FYI for you guys too, just put them in order just in case your vehicle is different size bolts. So anyway, we're gonna repair this new water pump. I'm gonna get our they say you don't have to use the RTV with this gasket. It's a Felpro gasket, but but they do kind of recommend that you do. That you got to be really careful so you don't move that gasket. See how the holes are going to line up and everything. I don't want to get that thing on there and have the gasket sitting like this, hanging off there. So you got to be really careful here. So I'm going to use the RTV to also hold the gasket and to help seal. So the only thing I'm not going to do right now is put that little short bypass hose on, because we're going to do the thermostat housing. So this will make it easier to get the water pump on, and it should, you know, with that other stuff off, we shouldn't have any problem getting this on with the thermostat housing off. So let's stick this water pump on. Okay, I've got my 12 bolts laying right here, just so they're easy for me to grab. Got one hand on the water pump, and I'll be grabbing bolts with the other hand. I'm going to start with the top two bolts, so the water pump will hang there. Okay, now we're going to tighten these in a staggered pattern, just like you would with, you mechanics know that, whether you're putting wheels on or you're tightening a head on, a cylinder head on, you always want to stagger so it draws down evenly and doesn't warp when it gets hot. So that's what you're going to see me do here. Okay, that one I'm going to have to use an 8mm box end wrench because that fuel line is in the way of getting a socket on when it's out like that. Okay, y'all know I use Haynes manual. The torque on those water pump bolts, okay, right there, water pump bolts, V6, 89 inch-pounds. So, and you know, you see V8, that's 89, or I mean, that's 18, that'd be foot-pounds. So 89 inch-pounds, divide that by 12, and that's about 7.5 foot-pounds. So that's not very much. When I took those off, they weren't, you know, they were pretty easy to break loose. And remember, this is an aluminum block, so you don't want to over tighten these and strip those threads out of that block. So I'm just going to go snug plus a tiny bit. I'm going to go all the way back and forth, all the way around again, staggering, and I'll do that and get right back with you guys. Okay, we are all torqued down, and I put the heater core hose back on. Now we're going to prepare the bottom half, the lower radiator hose here. And I'm going to take these, there's nothing wrong with these old clamps, so I'm going to take these 3 old clamps off, put it on the new lower hose. And also this looks some kind of heat shield, I guess, or maybe it stops something from chafing, but I'm going to take this off here and put it on the new one also. So I will go ahead and do that and be right with you. Okay, this is the lower hose here. I put it on, and let me give you guys a little tip. And I use Vaseline for quite a lot of my mechanic work. You know, whether it's holding the gasket in or pre-lubing a gasket. But you just take a little thin layer of Vaseline and put it on the nipple, I guess you call it, where the hose is going to go on, and boy, the hose just slides right on, and then, you know, that stuff will dissolve and go away. Anyway, so that's a little tip for getting your hoses on easier. But I put this on, and it's a little long, so it was causing this to kink just like that. And I don't like that. I want free flowing. So what I'm gonna do, and I am gonna cut about a 1/2 inch off of this end, because this end was maxed out, and this end was too, and I may turn out to take a little bit off this end too, but I'm definitely going to cut about a 1/2 inch off this, and I think that'll relieve it, so the hose will stretch out, because you don't want it kinked. So anyway, FYI, I'm taking about a 1/2 inch off this, and I'm going to do it with a box cutter. If this blade is too dull, I've got some new blades here. It'll cut right through it. Alright, hey you guys. We are all done. Got the plastic here. I just topped off the antifreeze. It's been running a little bit here, and I don't see any leaks. Dry as a bone. Oh yeah, thank you Lord. You never know when you dig into something like this. Alright guys. Done with the water pump, Thermostat Housing. Appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for our travel, camping, adventure videos. I hope you don't mind these car videos once in a while. Hopefully it helps somebody. Doing this for my kids too, so they can look in the future and see some of the stuff they can do. So God bless. Thanks for watching, you guys.